Hello, everyone. Welcome to another captivating episode of Keeping It Real by Housing.com. Here's an interesting but slightly counterintuitive piece of data. Housing sales in India's eight prime residential markets fell 6% during the April to June period of 2024, even as new supply tapered, a quarterly analysis by digital real estate brokerage firm PropTiger.com shows. The quarterly report, titled Real Insight Residential April to June 2024, said that a total of 1,13,768 units were sold in the second quarter of the calendar year 2024 against 1,20,642 in the previous quarter. The quarterly decline in sales was seen across cities, except Bengaluru, that recorded a 30% increase, and Delhi-NCR, that recorded a 10% increase. New supply fell marginally by 1% to 1 lakh 1,677 units during the April June quarter from 1 lakh 3,020 units in the Jan March period. The sharpest decline in supply was registered in Hyderabad at 58%, followed by Kolkata at 49%. There are significant differences in trends among cities too. For instance, in Bengaluru, soaring property values in India's IT capital, which nudged home buyers to finalize purchase plans, helped Bengaluru defy the overall trend, with leading developers unveiling plans to launch new projects in the city, the report said. Similarly, easy availability of ready to move in homes was cited as a key reason for an uptick in Delhi NCR sales numbers. To help us understand these trends, we have with us Vikas Wadhawan, Group CFO, REA Indian Business Head, PropTiger.com. Hello and a warm welcome, Vikas. Delighted to have you on the show, as always.
Hello, everyone, and hello, Gaurav. It's always pleasure to be on this show and speaking to the audience. Look forward to an insightful conversation.
Vikas, these are very interesting numbers. How do you read this? Is this a case of home buyers applying a wait and watch strategy ahead of the polls or during the polls, if we may say so, during the quarter, that is April to June? Do you think home buyers deferred plans to invest in real estate during the quarter? Vikas?
Yeah, no, I think you've already talked about the numbers, so I won't go too much into the numbers. But the theme is, I think the last quarter, as we all know, everyone was busy with the federal election, and the whole of the nation was looking at what's going to happen in the electoral results of one of the largest democracy and world's largest electoral process. So I think I won't read too much into the quarter on quarter decline numbers because this was anticipated. Always we've seen in the past that whenever there are these federal election or even at a state level when there are elections in the state, we see a little bit of slowdown in that quarter in that particular geography. If it's national, we see the impact pan India, but if it is state level, we see the impact in that state. But if you double click the numbers, as you were saying, Bangalore still was very robust in terms of launches as well as sales. And if we see the launches data, in fact, not only Bangalore, but some of the other cities like Delhi NCR, Mumbai also registered a positive momentum, and in fact, Ahmedabad also kind of doubled their launches in this particular quarter. So I think this was an anticipated slowdown on the back of federal election. I don't read it too much. The market momentum is still very positive. Consumers are still looking for properties. Developers are very, very bullish about what's happening in the market, and they want to encash the momentum, and they have a very strong pipeline of launches in the coming quarters. I would say all good as we speak today.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it's also very good to hear that markets continue to remain bullish. The prospects are good and bullish. But how do you interpret the trends in Bengaluru? What makes it an outlier in the current market, particularly in the context of the April-June quarter, where most of the markets have registered declines, in some cases very sharp declines, like Hyderabad and Kolkata, but Bengaluru has registered a very, very sharp increase. What makes it an outlier? Because
Yeah, so Bangalore clearly we know is one of the fastest growing city in India, especially on the back of uh, all the IT and tech related startups or the companies which are putting up their large centers in India, especially now when people are back in office. The people who actually reverse migrated during COVID period, they are now asked to come back to the office, and hence they are again back to the bigger cities, and hence Bangalore is seeing the sharpest increase in the rental prices. Right, Bangalore is a cosmos city, as we all know, and it's not only tech but also manufacturing, healthcare, and education are the industries which drive this particular city and the momentum in this city. If you look at a couple of quarters back, Hyderabad was leading the chart in terms of growth, and Bangalore was not showing the same momentum. But now I
Right.
think in the last couple of quarters, Bangalore is catching up, and even when the entire nation was busy with the federal election, the momentum in Bangalore continued very robust and registered a sharp growth in sales as well as launch numbers. So these are a few factors which is impacting Bangalore.
Absolutely. And Vikas, finally, let's talk about new supplies. New supplies were down 1% during the quarter. However, Hyderabad and Kolkata saw the sharpest fall. Also, there's an interesting piece of trend that is, if I may say so, a sub trend in these numbers. Half the cities witnessed a fall, while the remaining recorded an increase. Why has the demand been higher in some markets and more attractive than others? Because,
Yeah, I don't see this is the reflection of demand in these markets, Gaurav, because launches, the cycle of launch planning starts much earlier, and that is all basis a lot of predictive data, a lot of forecasting in terms of demand. And as I mentioned just few minutes back, from a market momentum perspective, from a sentiment perspective in real estate, the sentiment still continues to be very robust and very positive. People are looking for buying real estate as an end user, where they are either upgrading their houses, moving from rental to their own houses, or moving to the bigger cities, or finding better localities in terms of healthcare amenities and so on and so forth, which is the shift of aspiration which we've seen in the last couple of years, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
these are few factors which is fueling the demand. Demand remains robust. I don't see any challenge as far as the demand is concerned, at least for the next few quarters. And we know that real estate cycles are pretty large. We've seen a very large down cycle. I feel the up cycle will also going to be long, at
yeah,
least for the next few quarters, and especially when the economy is doing well, there is a positive momentum, and with the repeat of central government, all the economic indicators are looking positive, and I'm hoping that budget will further fuel that sentiment. Coming back to
absolutely.
your question, why some of the cities shown slightly kind of very divergent trends, I would say. Some
Yeah,
cities are growing very fast in terms of launches, and some cities have registered a decline. As I said, launch cycles are pretty long, and sometime when the states or the nation goes into election, the government machinery slows down, and hence the approval process, which is pretty cumbersome in real estate new launches, gets impacted to some extent. I think that is the reflection, I would say, when we look at the launches in some of the cities being slowing down and launches in some of the cities are still robust. Like look at Ahmedabad, they have
yeah,
registered 2x the growth in terms of number of launches, but one may argue it's a tier two city. Its
mhm,
numbers are very small. Two big launches of 500 units each can actually register a strong growth for the whole of the city, right? Versus compared to Bombay, which is 10 times the size of Ahmedabad. We have seen the growth. Growth looks only 10%, but it is still the new launches is higher than Ahmedabad city as a whole, right? So I think these are few anomalies when we compare city by city. But I don't read too much into these numbers. I think the sentiment remains positive. Our developer partners are very bullish. We as a company are very bullish right now. In fact, we have launched, Housing.com does mega home utsav every
Yeah.
July to September quarter.
Right.
It's one of the largest online event in India. We are
Right.
seeing very positive momentum in that event, and we are hoping to actually beat our previous targets in this event. Similar
Absolutely.
trends we are seeing in Prop Tiger when we are talking to developers. They have a very solid calendar of launches in the coming quarters, and the market will maintain the momentum.
Absolutely. Now, it's very good to hear that the sentiments remain very bullish, prospects are bullish, and the real estate sector and the property market will again canter on to a faster and a stronger lane. Thank you, Vikas, for sharing your insights. It's always a delight to speak to you. Thank you for taking the time out and dropping by to have this conversation with us.
Likewise, Gaurav, thanks for hosting me on the show, and thanks to all the audience. All the best. Thank you.
That's it from us for this episode. We shall be back again with a fresh episode of Keeping It Real by Housing.com with information and insights on the real estate industry. Whether you are a pro or a beginner, we are here to keep you informed and entertained in the world of Indian real estate. This is Keeping It Real by Housing.com, where we keep it real always. You can catch the episode on Housing.com, on the Housing.com app, on the YouTube channel of Housing.com, on Earshot.in, Spotify.com, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Ghana.com, and JioSaavn. Take care and stay safe.